Howdy, boys and girls. We're getting a little bit of a late start tonight, but if you've been here before for the live show, you know that that's kind of how we operate around here. So sit back, listen, and we will have the show going just as soon as humanly possible. This is the pre-show, and you will hear us talking about things that are going to happen on the show. So if you don't want to hear about it, you might want to stick your fingers in your ears and go, nah, 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 nah. Tammy, did you do anything different with your lighting? Because I'm seeing just parts of the green screen.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you do anything with your lighting? I'm only seeing parts of the green screen with the background. The other, I just see the sheet. I thought maybe you didn't have a light on or something that you normally have on.
Which side are you having problems seeing?
It's almost all of it. There's only a tiny sliver over on your right-hand side.
Okay. Gotta find my camera.
Oh, you changed cameras. That might be what it is. Let me.
So it needs more light.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's okay.
On this side.
If you haven't changed anything, I'll just try to adjust it. Give me just a second.
Sterling. Do I need to add more light? No.
All right, now let me see if I can adjust your background. I actually put my green screen on a little line running across the room, so now I can move it out of the way instead of having it up on those stands all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
Yeah, but I had to...
Would you have to sew a couple loops in it or something, or how'd you...
No, it comes like that because it goes on a pole on the stand. I don't know about yours, but this one...
Yeah, mine's just, it's just, seamed around the edges. I don't think there's any, any
this
loops
one,
or anything like
yeah,
that.
this one has a huge fold over.
Yeah, actually mine does too. I just noticed that. Like almost like a curtain.
Yeah.
Does it need more light?
Mine does too, actually. I never noticed that before.
Got it on the side there or something?
Yeah, it is actually. And it's on the side it's really flat and taut, so I never even noticed it. I'll be darned.
Yeah, you could string I just used a couple of big eyelets, a cable that's about half the size of a winch cable, covered in plastic, and running across the room.
Some old clothesline, it sounds like.
Kind of like that, except industrial grade. Now, if I was Tammy's video, where would I be? see if it's this one. I don't think it is, but let's see. Boy, that took a long time to find. All right, so let's see.
Tony, did you want me to grab a Amazon product for you? I noticed.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so now Tammy's chroma keyed.
And you have to go back and completely redo her settings and stuff?
I just had to find the tile where the main tile that I use, the composite, all everything, the rest of the shots,
okay.
And I was having a real hard time finding that one composite. So found it, and I just had to adjust the background color. Apparently it was gray, which is strange. I don't know why it changed. I mean, the color that I had on file for it was kind of a gray. So
Well, hey, speaking of weird computer things, last night after the podcast, I basically just, turned everything off and shut everything down.
And the fan has gone back to normal.
No, actually, it hasn't, no, it hasn't. And, but what was weird is that I came in this evening when I got home to turn things on. The computer wouldn't boot. It just sat there with a, cursor flash and it wouldn't boot. So, and it took me, half a dozen tries to finally get into the BIOS and didn't see anything wrong, just went through it all and exited out of the BIOS and it restarted by itself. And lo and behold, it booted up.
It could be that power supply that you were.
Would that really do it? I was thinking that, but I thought to myself, that's not, I don't think that's possible, is it?
Well, if the voltages aren't right, then it's going to cause unusual things. So I don't know. It could be the motherboard. It could be the, it could be memory. You can pull memory sticks out of it and just try one or so. But since you're having an issue with the power supply, that's generally the culprit. When one thing goes wrong, something else goes wrong. Unmute Tammy. I think she's done typing. All right.
Yeah, I gotta stop that.
No, it's fine to type. Just remember to mute before you start typing.
And then to remute. If that makes sense.
To re-unmute.
To re-unmute.
All right, so
stop it. My head hurts.
All right, so I think we are ready to go.
Almost, Tony. I just need another minute or
sure.
so to finish up your Amazon you bought what item here. Give me just a minute. Otherwise, everything else, is done and ready to go.
Let's see. We got Super Croc. They're out there tonight. Jeep Boss. Who else we got? We got Steve, 4.3 LXJ. And I think that's all that has chimed in for tonight.
You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
Oh, did you stick that in the show notes?
I did twice.
Good. I just have to remember to read it. I'm telling you, man, the case is being made for another monitor.
So these
do you even have a video card that would support that?
the you bought what?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the first one? Because I have.
You're going to read the second one.
You want me to read the second one?
Yeah. So yours is in purple.
Oh, so I'll read the one that. Oh, I see. You put Tony's. Oh, okay, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I was going to say, Josh, look, but you can't see me. I have it here.
But
I bought that.
We thought so.
Thought you might have. So little show and tell definitely doesn't hurt. So
and spraying yourself would be good for the show, but not necessary.
Imagine, oops! Oh my God!
Extra credit.
Then we could go viral.
That's right. And now a podcast sweeping the nation with this viral video of a lady actually macing herself, pepper spraying herself. And then you say, it needed a little salt. You'll see, it'd be like salt and pepper.
Oh, your poor wife.
Right?
She laughs all the time.
What a bum.
So speaking of Amazon, I bought a clock, a alarm clock recently, and I thought it'd be kind of neat to buy this one that had the little had a little hole in the bottom, kind of a rectangular thing, and there's a LED strip, so it acts as a night light. So the clock is on top, and then at the bottom there's this little like handhold almost, but it's just an area where the light can shine down. Well, I woke up this morning around 5 o'clock or something with something on my hand. It was that damn alarm clock. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I went, oh, how did they got my hand in there? And I put it back down and went back to sleep. It was really strange.
Wow, weird.
Well, for years I would sleep with a Kermit Muppet hand puppet on my hand, so that might have been part of it. You know, I wish we could have gotten Eric McGrew, I believe is his name, from
yes.
From that's right. You know him because I wonder if he can see that from his house.
Yes, he can.
From the Chilean volcano that erupted.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say
some of those pictures are right from his house.
Oh, interesting.
Because when he interviewed me that one time, I was asking about him, and he looks out his window, and there's the volcano. But he has some videos that are right where you can see that big plume of ash smoke.
Mm-hmm. I just see one. Saw one come up on the Twitter and made me think of.
Are you friends with him on Facebook?
No, we've been talking to him about joining us on the 4x4 network, and I just
because I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he's got like these gorgeous. They're beautiful pictures, but it's scary.
Is it his a podcast site or is it his personal? I'm sorry, I can't.
I'm friends with him on his personal.
Yeah, I just have him for the on the podcast.
Yeah, it's because it's Eric McGrew. I'm pretty sure.
At any rate, I haven't seen any pictures or videos from him.
Yeah. And he talks about how him and his wife are like, she's like, honey, come look at this. And he's like, what? And they were just really calm about it. But no, that's his view every morning is that volcano. And I was like, you're so lucky. It's beautiful.
Well, guys, I am all finished up, so we can go ahead and start woefully late.
Yeah,
sorry about that to all the rest of you out there. Just had to finish up a couple last minute things.
It's the thought that counts.
Okay, so I wave when again?
Whenever the mood strikes you.
Okay.
when you hear the music, a couple of seconds after the music starts.
Can I just start waving now?
I've said it before. You can wave during the entire podcast if you like. Josh has gotten so frustrated he's actually used two hands for well into a segment. Alrighty, so got that up and alrighty, got my timer up and here we go.
You're listening.
And here we go again.
You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
Bienvenidos al XJ Talk Show, un podcast acerca de aventuras off-road en Jeep Cherokees y entrevistas que manejan y mueven el mundo de las carreras off-road. Ahora, aquí están sus presentadores, Tony y Josh.
And Tammy.
First week in Jeep.
Oh, we've got some confirmation of some long-awaited news. It is official. There has been no shortage of speculation about the future of Jeep products, most of it revolving around the next generation Wrangler, and whether or not it's going to become unibody or independent front suspension and all this other nasty stuff that's basically going to make it, well, not a Wrangler anymore. Nearly every component, from the wheels to the windshield and from the engine to the axles, have been fodder for the rumor mill. Today at the New York Auto Show, Jeep boss Mike Manley confirmed what we thought all along. The next generation Wrangler will maintain its frame construction. That is body-on-frame construction. Oh, thank goodness. When questioned if an aluminum body would fit into the equation, Manley replied, "It can be done," but wouldn't further elaborate. Whether the Wrangler will be built is still where the Wrangler will still be built is a question without an answer. Set to debut for the 2017 model year, the current school of thought is that if the Wrangler body goes aluminum, it'll need to move production from its longtime home in Toledo, Ohio, to a facility optimized for working with the alloy. Meanwhile, the city of Toledo is doing everything in its power, including prepping a large parcel of land located directly adjacent to the current Wrangler facility to make sure production doesn't stray from the T-Town borders. Toledo is all Jeep, people. Not only is it home to Wrangler production right now, but its current Jeep Cherokee is also assembled there as well. I've told you guys we'll keep you posted as to the future of the manufacturing home for the next Wrangler, so if you want to stay up to date, just keep listening to the XJ Talk Show. Now, the Grand Wagoneer is on track for 2018. That's right, I said Grand Wagoneer. There's another blast from the past. We haven't heard much about its development since the maker mentioned it at the 2014 Fiat Chrysler Investor Day almost a year ago. Fans anticipating its return, including myself, will be glad to hear that Mike Manley says the flagship SUV is 100% on track to be ready for its debut in the 2018 model year. The Grand Wagoneer will sit above the Grand Cherokee in the lineup, give Jeep its first three-row offering since the ill-fated Commander, which I thought was just a darn shame, and fulfill Sergio Marchionne's wish to have a true Range Rover competitor in the FCA portfolio. While Mike Manley didn't offer any specifics regarding the challenges of the Grand Wagoneer's development, he did say that the Wagoneer program was one of the most exciting products he's had the pleasure of working on in his tenure at Jeep. Hey, big thanks to all of you guys who continue to help out by submitting stories to This Week in Jeep each and every week. And I want to give a special thanks and a big shout out to both Jake and John, who have basically been working overtime to get me some content. Guys, keep up the great work. And for the rest of you, don't be ashamed or worried if I haven't talked about your story. I've got so many to choose from each and every week. It's hard to pick them all. And of course, we don't have time to send them all in, but we encourage you guys to send all of your stories in. And if you have a response to any one of our stories, please feel free to drop us an email over at newstips@xjtalkshow.com.
Wow, I will say this: at least Jeep is bringing back the old stuff, which is kind of cool. I mean, we've seen this
in a way,
yeah. We've seen this from Chevrolet, we've seen this from Dodge, bringing back the muscle cars, and I thought they did a fairly good design on it. But yeah, it is kind of a shame that none of this stuff is reminiscent. It's just kind of like the old names.
You're right. Whereas like Chevy and Ford have done well with the Camaro and the Mustang, and even Dodge in like the Challenger, in the Challenger series and stuff
Charger,
like that,
right.
with and the Charger even with throwbacks to old school design. Jeep bring back the Cherokee and now the Renegade name badge. Both have absolutely nothing to show for its heritage as far as designs from those name badges that we're all too familiar with. Now, I'm really hoping that the new generation of the Grand Wagoneer is not basically going to be a rebadged Dodge Durango. I have a sneaky suspicion that's where the direction they may go with it. Now, they're saying it's going to be a competitor, well, above the line of the Grand Cherokee, without competing against its own sales. So we're really going to be curious to see how that's going to develop as far as its size, its stature, and of course, drivetrain, and all the good numbers that we want to know all about.
You know, when you mentioned the Commander, which I thought was a beautiful I did Jeep.
Too.
It looked like a larger Cherokee.
Thank you.
And it was really neat how it had the I think it was 7 windows, 7 glass, what do you call them? Not moonroof, sunroof type thing you could get on it. And 7-passenger seating would be a little tight, but at least you could do it with the thing. But it just didn't go over well. Now I wonder if maybe that's what doomed the Jeep reminiscent design for our future Jeeps that we have now. That perhaps since that one didn't do very well, of course, it sucked gas like it was not going out of style.
Yeah.
And
it was horribly anemic, and it had its own issues with a number of other things. It had a couple of recalls and stuff like that. There were some design issues with that. I think it was a little bit before its time. I think they rushed to get that model of Jeep into the lineup to really expand things because they didn't have much going on other than like the Patriot and the Liberty. And this was a nice, diverse addition to the lineup from the Wrangler and the rest of the line.
Now, as far as the aluminum body Wranglers, I don't see that as necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's kind of that's like an upgrade
Toledo.
that you can do now. Well, yeah, certainly for Toledo, but I don't know why they couldn't. I guess it just would cost them too much money to retrofit or build something that.
Well, and that's where the debate is going right now. And Toledo, Ohio has already talked about huge tax abatements and incentives for Jeep to either build a new facility or to retrofit the existing one to keep production there. I mean, they're really at this point willing to do just about anything to keep the manufacturing of Jeep there in Toledo, Ohio for its foreseeable future.
I bet you it just scares the hell out of them every time Jeep gets sold, especially when it gets sold overseas. So I don't know.
Really.
We'll see. But Tammy, you wouldn't mind an aluminum body Jeep, would you?
I like it just the way it is. I don't
I'm the same
see
way.
why you have to change something.
They try to get more miles per gallon out of things because
that's where it all comes down to.
That's not why I bought my Jeep.
No. What is
it's.
What's the meme? It's not miles per gallon; it's smiles per gallon.
Right.
There you go.
Right. And if I was buying a vehicle for miles per gallon, it's I would be getting.
Don't say it.
I don't know. No, something else.
I was gonna say, man, you're not buying a Wrangler for the same reasons you're buying a Prius, and and they shouldn't be. They should not be on the same page as far as EPA standards and stuff like that. But yeah, whatever.
Might as well get a smart car. Now, if they made a smart ass car, I'd be on it.
There we go.
Anyway.
xjtalk.com is where you go when you're not off-road. And now you can go to xjtalk.com when you're off-road too. Using your smartphone, install the Tapa Talk app, then search for XJ Talk. Take XJ Talk with you wherever you go. Jury duty, dinner with your spouse's parents, even, well, anywhere you need your XJ Talk fix.
I know you've heard us talk about Amazon on the podcast before, but have you heard about our new game?
You bought what?
It's a lot of fun, and we want you guys to play along. All you have to do is go to xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com and click on the Amazon banner there on the main page. This takes you right to Amazon, where you can buy any crazy little thingamajig to join in on the fun. Amazon gives us a list every week of what you guys are buying, but we don't get to know who it is that's buying it. As an added bonus, you get the same great price you always would, and Amazon is going to give the show a small pittance for you playing along. So let's all have some fun. The XJ Talk Show and Amazon.com.
Ooh, red Jeeps are sexy.
Hey, guess what's coming up on Wrangler Talk? I list the top do's and don'ts when you go topless in your Jeep Wrangler.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
That sounds great. We're looking forward to that, Tammy. That's great. So we want to talk to you guys a little bit about the 4x4 Radio Network. And, this is kind of a good thing.
Well, yeah, it's the best thing since sliced bread, if you ask me.
There you go.
I remember how I used to just stick my hand in the bread and pull it apart and dip it in the butter and then try to hit my face with it. Oh, sliced bread was the best thing that you could ever have, short of napkins and a wet nap.
You guys, if you guys don't know about the 4x4 Radio Network, you really need to head over to www.4x4radionetwork.com. It is where you want to go to basically get your off-road audio fix. We're adding shows, and in fact, well, we've got one that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. But the XJ Talk Show and the 4x4 podcast have joined forces, and well, we've basically created this network We are going to be adding more shows to the lineup as the weeks and months go on. And you guys can visit 4x4 or 4x4radionetwork.com and listen to right now at least 2 great podcasts and their lineup simply by pressing the play button. It's all right there, all in one spot. All you got to do is go there. There's no better place to get all your 4x4 information than the 4x4radionetwork.com.
Yep, and luckily, actually, this past Monday, we added a third podcast, and I know some of you guys out there are Land Rover lovers, and I mean, gosh, that was I was actually told by John, the podcast host, that the Land Rover was developed after the Brits saw the Jeep during World War II, and they wanted a British-made utility vehicle like the Jeep. So they literally drew the first design in the sand on a beach and came up with the Land Rover. And I keep wanting to call it a Range Rover, but John slapped me through YouTube several times. So now I think really hard. Land Rover.
Jeez.
Land Rover. Kind of like Land Shark.
So we thought we'd give you just a little taste of what they have going on over there at Center Steer. And by the way, that's the European spelling of center. So it's CENTRE Steer podcast.
The Center Steer podcast, a Land Rover podcast by Land Rover owners. So there you go. It's our second anniversary. This is as much as we're doing. We
now have 2 listeners.
Oh, we have more than 2.
2 that will admit to it.
Yeah, that's true. And hi to Derek. We always got to say hi to Vince. We're going to talk to the Lizzie Bus folks. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. It's just absolutely great. So it's quite kind of surreal that we're sitting here, as we mentioned, in Birmingham, and talking to you guys over there in the States, which is very familiar to us, having just driven for the last 5.5 years around the world in our Defender called Lizzie Bus.
So as you can tell, this is the most recent episode there at centersteer.com. You can go over there and listen to that whole story. There was a rather lengthy interview with the occupants of the Lizzie Bus. And man, could you imagine going overland for 5.5 years?
Man,
that
is
exciting.
one heck of a trek.
Yeah. Now, I have not
Can't
heard.
imagine the amount of trucker bombs that was created during that trek.
I have not heard the entire interview yet, but I suspect that they drove more than just around the United States. Although I guess you could drive 5.5 years around the U.S. if you really wanted to.
Take your time. All those back roads.
Yep. So we highly recommend you taking a moment and going over to centersteer.com. Again, that's CENTRE steer.com, and have a listen to those shows. They're only about 23 episodes in, and boy, they're already doing a great job over there. So
fledgling podcast, guys. Great way to support an up-and-coming off-road podcast. We encourage you guys to support all off-road podcasts, including the XJ Talk Show and the 4x4 podcast, as well as the Center Steer podcast as well. Guys, go check this stuff out. Really cool audio listening. If you're into podcasts, obviously you're listening to this right now, you're going to like that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. Oh, and the other show that is part of the 4x4 Radio Network is the 4x4 podcast. And gosh, Josh, they got something special coming up this weekend, don't they?
Yeah, they've got an anniversary coming up.
Isn't it their 100th episode this Sunday?
I believe it is
100 episodes, and they said it wouldn't last. Just a joke, Dan. Don't worry about that. Or Jan. I'll call him Jan.
Oh boy, no, that's not going to end well.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool watching him on Facebook build his trailer.
Yeah, I asked him the other day about how much is that thing going to weigh. Seeing all that wood he was putting into it, he's estimated 800 pounds is what that.
Oh my gosh!
Well, it's an expedition trailer, so it's going to have all kinds of goodies in there. Refrigerator, AC converter, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Dan's going to have fun. He's going to be driving up to Alaska because he's changing posts. He's actually going to be driving up to Fairbanks, Alaska with him and the fam, about a 3 or 4 week trip on the road. And that's
going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and that's what that trailer's for, because they're going to be doing overland from, I guess it's Missouri to Alaska.
Well, that is something else.
So congratulations on your 100th episode, Dan.
Yep, big congrats,
Way to go.
Dan. Keep up the great work. And speaking of keeping up work, we need to keep up with you guys and let you guys know who the heck we are. Who are these three people that are talking in your ear right now? Well, I'm Josh. You guys may know me as NW99XJ or Northwest 99XJ. And that's pretty much the handle that I go by on just about any Jeep forum you can find online, including xjtalk.com. And, you can find us over at wranglertalk.com and XJ Talk Show as well. Guys, we are doing this podcast to, support xjtalk.com as well as the other sites, and really to just kind of show our enthusiasm, a little outlet for our off-road enthusiasm. Who else do we have on the mics tonight?
Well, I'm Tony. You know me as Motorroy, also on xjtalk.com, wranglertalk.com, all over the interwebs. I'm on the Twitter, and and of course we have our next co-host.
And I'm Tammy, also known as Jeep Mama, and you can find me at my blog on www.jeepmama.com. And I'm on the Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Tumblr, I'm everywhere, just about everywhere.
And you'll also see posts from Tammy on our Wrangler Talk Twitter. And I think, have you been over to wranglertalk.com yet, Tammy?
I meant to talk to you about that. I'm having a problem signing
Fired.
in. I don't know.
Fired.
Oh no.
He's fired.
I thought you were talking about me. It's not the first time.
Sometimes I'm very technical.
What she said.
Yes, I have a very hard time with technology.
Yes.
Technologically
challenged.
Deprived or see, I can't even talk.
Challenged. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I also know what you mean about not being able to talk. It's so funny. I have a hard time sometimes. I think I'm thinking about what I want to say, and it gets in the way, and I get tang-tungled. So
if you were in my head, you would get it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I hear it's topless in there. So
you guys, you can get the XJ Talk Show. You guys can get the XJ Talk Show every Thursday at 10 p.m. Central and watch it live as we record it live over at xjtalkshow.com. And you guys can also check out all of our videos over at our YouTube channel. Want to make sure you guys are checking that out frequently, and often. youtube.com/xjtalk. We release the podcast every Monday, so make sure you guys are subscribing over for all the releases over at xjtalkshow.com, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. So we'd really appreciate that.
Thank God Josh is here to save us, Tony.
I know.
Oh, my God. We'd be rambling for days.
You
should hear our other podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen to the Tony and Josh show. It's kind of fun.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Greetings. This is Anton, the Super Croc. Just wanted to say hello. I'm loving the podcast. Right now on my Jeep, I'm working on a crank but no start issue, and we're thinking it's either the crankshaft position sensor or the coil or gremlins. We're getting parts today. Hopefully I should be able to leave a message, tell you what I found out. Bye!
I remember the Gremlin. It was made by AMC.
Yeah, no, I actually had some no start gremlins myself not all that long ago. It ended up being a no bus issue, that's a whole nother podcast. I can get into that.
Yeah, it turned out to be the speed sensor on the transfer case, wasn't it?
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, part of the 5-volt family of sensors that controls the OBD2 system.
You might want to have a look at that, Super Croc. CROCK.
Hey guys, this is Cody with TrailChasers.net. Last week you were talking about drifting your Jeep, and I wanted to let you know I did that once. I was on the 15 freeway heading to Vegas when I got cut off by an old lady in a Buick Skylark. It drove me into the dirt center median, and I was able to hold on to a power slide for what seemed to be an eternity, until my right front tire caught asphalt. After a handful of flips and rolls, my perfectly restored 1986 Jeep CJ7 came to a stop. So, if you're going to drift your Jeep, I have 3 suggestions. 1, wear your seatbelt, because I was able to walk away. 2, have good insurance. I didn't, and it sucked. Oh. And 3, ask your mom if you can borrow her car, because you're going to need it for work on Monday. Keep it up, guys. Talk to you later.
You know, it just dawned on me the way Cody sounds. Now, Josh, you'll say this is a timely reference. He sounds like one of the cops from Dragnet.
Oh, nothing but the facts, ma'am.
Just the facts, ma'am.
You know what? I wish my older son, could have heard that, because he plays those video games all the time, and he thinks drifting is like, just a cool thing, and it's easy, and you're not going to get yourself hurt, or you're not going to flip your, vehicle. So I think I might have him listen to that.
There are some videos on YouTube. I know that there's a video of a stock Cherokee drifting in a parking lot, and at the end of the video, it flips. So I would search and let him look at that and let him understand that when this happens, that means you're not driving anymore for at least a year.
Yeah, save it for the professionals.
Yep. Or at least have a dedicated vehicle and not in parking lots, not where people can get hit.
Or just save it for your video game, your Need for Speed.
The Super Croc again. Or maybe not again. Who knows? Yeah, I was just looking at WranglerTalk.com. It seems to be one of your guys' other websites, and I noticed something interesting. You have nothing for CJs. And yeah, you have your TJs, you have your YJs, you have your JKs, but nothing for the CJ. I'm wondering why this is. It's puzzling. I know the CJ is much older and wiser of a Jeep, I guess you could say, but it still kind of baffles me. Maybe it's one of those mysteries that will remain to be unknown. Thanks.
So first,
well,
as
Anton, here's a. Go ahead, Tony.
First, as a public service announcement, when you're working on your Jeep, make sure you have proper ventilation and don't leave the motor running. I think that's what's happened here. He was asking about a CJ section on Wrangler, which we have since put up. So, question answered and asked and answered there, Anton.
I'll see. The real reason is a long lost secret from the XJ Talk Show archives is that Tony had an ex-girlfriend named CJ back in high school, and she broke his heart, and ever since he's had an animosity towards the older Jeeps. No, I'm kidding, of course. Completely made up. But really quickly, I'd like to address Anton's no start issue. Really quick, I could save you a lot of trouble if you want to troubleshoot your coil real quick. Is pull a spark plug, a wire off of one of the spark plugs. Get a screwdriver in there or something and hold that with some insulated gloves or an insulated tool. You can even just hold the boot with an insulated tool close to a source of ground, like the block, valve cover, something like that, and get the engine to run if you can. Have somebody try and start it if you can. And if there's any spark there, well, then the coil is firing. But it sounds like, look, there's something called the ASD relay, automatic shutdown relay, and that's going to basically disable the fuel pump and not send signal to the coil to tell it to spark. And so there's a number of things that can cause that to trip. And, that we could spend the entire show covering all those. But just really quickly, Croc, I'd like to help you out and help you troubleshoot that coil. At least knock that off and go through the rest of the process of elimination, and hopefully you can find the issue.
Hey guys, this is the Super Croc, Anton again. It was not the coil. I did change plugs, cap, rotor, and plug wires, and that didn't help much either. Now we're thinking it's the CPS, and fuel pressure when it was at 50 to 45 psi, depending on which gauge we used. So I don't think it's that either. Still no start. might be able to get on the live. So it's now into Napa for more parts. Yay.
Well, at least we found out it wasn't the coil. And
glad I could help.
Yeah. Yep. It was amazing. You said it, and he fixed it.
Yeah,
that's why you should come to the pre-show.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
now,
I
guys,
told him he should try putting the key in the ignition, maybe turning it on.
There you go.
Oh, that's the way I was
actually
always telling me. Did you turn
gas?
it off and on?
You mean your Jeep has a key? I just press a button.
Oh, I could do that too, but I just don't do that. I'm old-fashioned.
Now, if you guys have an issue like Anton or Super Croc rather has, you'd like to call in and share your experiences with an issue you're having with your Jeep, or maybe you have a solution to a problem that you found with your Jeep, by all means, let us know. Give us a call at 530-675-4102, and we just might play that voicemail on the show.
Wow, a solution. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? It's always problems, which we love, but it would be neat. Somebody calls up and says, hey, I fixed something. So let's get to some of our YouTube subscribers and that YouTube love.
Well, because I am such an awesome co-host, these are the exact same names that we said last week because I forgot to update this section in our show notes. Nonetheless, we will still go ahead and give these people a little bit of that YouTube love. Guys, get your name on our list. All you have to do is head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/xjtalk, and subscribe. We are adding names to that list all the time. Knock on the door of 1,000 subscribers and 250,000 views, so keep up the good work and be sure to tell a friend.
Excellent. Well, there's nothing wrong with saying the names twice. We have XJ Jake.
Yeah, that guy actually deserves to be told or said his name aloud a couple of times with all the help he's been providing to us with This Week in Jeep and other stories. Mr. Battlewagon in on our number 2 spot, and these are in no particular order.
And William Pierce.
And Mr. Cascade 09. We will have a fresh set of names for you guys next week. In the meantime, head over to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/xjtalk, subscribe, and tell a friend.
Absolutely. That's great. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to go over there and subscribe. It's always fun to see the numbers increase, and we hope you're enjoying the videos that are over there. So
now my favorite part of the show. Yay.
Yeah. We got a little section here, a new section from Nikki G.
From the mind of Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and got a lot to talk about this week. First off, I want to say,
pull up a seat,
Tammy,
get comfortable.
I know you mean well, but you hurt me with your words. When you talked about your 10 best accessories to have in a Jeep, you mentioned something to keep your hair up. That is so cruel. I have no hair, except for one in my nose.
And she didn't even mention a tinfoil hat.
Upgrading your cup holder. That is so cruel, because I do not have a cup holder.
Just mean.
Yeah.
I am.
And
bad mama.
On. When Bubba called in and you guys gave him advice about replacing the cable and grounding your vehicle, my Jeep's always grounded, except for when it's in the shop up on a lift. Then it's not grounded. Then they let it back down and it's grounded again. So I guess as long as you have 4 wheels on the ground, it's grounded.
Oh, you're grounded.
And I'd like to say thank to XJ Jake for giving his review of the new Jeep Renegade, and Fiat executives were listening to it, and they decided to adopt some of his quotes for their new slogan, sales pitch. And they'll go, Jeep Renegade. It is what it is.
He ran out of time.
Ugh, speed pipe cut me off. I got to set a timer or learn how to talk faster. So, where did I leave off? Jeep Renegade slogans. Jeep Renegade, it is what it is. Or my favorite is the new Jeep Renegade. It's not terrible. So I enjoyed your segment, XJ Jake. That was pretty good. And quick shout out to Tammy's son. I thought it was a funny joke, and I would like to see a regular segment of him calling in a joke every week. That would be good if you can encourage him to do it. If it's something he wants to do, that'd be great. I'd listen to it. And about your Tony's hit and run accident, I always thought, and of course I learned to drive in Ohio where there's only 3 motorists out there anyhow, and the chance of the 3 of us being on the road at the same time was rare. But when you're on a 6-lane highway, 3 lanes each way, the right lane is for entering and exiting the highway, and the center lane is now like the right lane for just local traffic, and the far left lane is for passing. So if you were in the right lane or in the center lane, you were in the right. You weren't doing anything wrong, but
it got him again.
We need to get him his own special line.
90 seconds. It takes me 90 seconds just to think about how I'm going to dial the phone. Jeez. Anyhow, so where was I? Oh, I guess for a final thought, I liked how Tony played the music right at the end of the show to signal to Josh that the show was over when he was talking, sort of like how they do Kanye West at any awards show to get him off the stage.
Just play him out.
And that's about it. Sorry, it took 3 messages, but I'm really digging the quality on SpeakPipe. So whenever I can, I'll use SpeakPipe. Now, it's 90 seconds. Do I have to fill the rest of the 90 seconds?
Yes.
I see where there's a little timer that counts me down, but because I'm holding the phone up to my ear, it's hard to see out of the corner of my eye. I think it says 30-something now. Anyhow. Well, I don't want to waste too much more time, so I guess I'll just press the stop button. All right, guys, I'll chat at you later. You have a good one. Bye.
See ya.
This has been From the Mind of Nikki G.
You know, I think I could hear that single nose hair whistling as he was breathing.
Out there just kind of wiggling around. Yeah. Now, if you guys want to join in on the fun like Nikki G does each and every week, you can use that SpeakPipe feature over at our website, xjtalkshow.com. You'll see it there on the right-hand side of the page, a little box. It has a little picture of a microphone in it and stuff like that. You just click on that. You got to have either a smartphone or, any phone, I think, that you would be able to access the web with. And, or of course, a microphone hooked up to a computer or even a tablet. And you guys can join in on the fun with SpeakPipe.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And also, too, just a suggestion to Nikki G. You don't like the 90-second timer on SpeakPipe? Well, you can break out the smartphone and load up Tape-A-Talk.
Good idea.
And record it all right there. And, you're already set up on our Dropbox, so you could do a whole dissertation and upload it to our Dropbox, and we'd have it for future podcasts. So there you go. That's one answer. So now we get to one of our prized segments, the Wrangler Talk with Jeep Mama. Now, we actually have some submissions here for entries to the Wrangler Talk segment, Josh. We've listened to a few of them. Did we want to play one for tonight?
Sure, we can go ahead and play one out. Guys, last week I asked you, because we had somebody come up with a great idea of saying something along the lines of "Shut up, listen to Jeep Mama." And I thought that would be a fantastic tagline to play with an intro for this segment, which we have made a permanent addition to the XJ Talk Show. And Wrangler Talk with Jeep Mama is going to become a permanent addition to the show, as is Tammy, of course. And we figured we'd have some fun with this, and of course it deserves its own intro. And you guys have stepped up to the plate. Since last week, we have gotten 6 submissions for "Shut Up and Listen to Jeep Mama." And those will get turned into a little bit of a promo and an entry or an intro for this segment.
So we'll just play one, no particular order, to intro this show, this segment brought to you by WranglerTalk.com.
Hey, it's time for Jeep Mama. And if you don't shut up, so help me, I will turn this Rubicon around. Don't make me do it.
Hey, thanks, guys. When you have a Jeep Wrangler, you get to put your top down, but you don't just put your top down. You don't hop in and just hit the road. You need a little more thought, and you must be prepared. So, I've come up with a list of tips for when you're going topless in your Jeep. First of all, when you fold back your top, you need to make sure you fold it back into the perfect Jeep W. Tony and Josh, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Jeep W since you guys don't have Wranglers, but this keeps your soft top lasting longer. It doesn't pinch the vinyl top. And if you go to my blog, www.jeepmama.com, JEEPMOMMA, you can see a picture of what I'm talking about. It's a certain way to fold the top back when you just put it partially down. Make sure you don't park under trees that are shedding their blooms when you're topless, unless you want, all those flower petals and little pollen bits inside your Jeep. Also, when you, park, make sure you look up and make sure there's not a tree there with lots of birds hanging out in it, because well, you know what happens when birds hang out above your Jeep. And thirdly, and Nikki G, you can disregard this topless tip. But when you're going down the highway at about 65 miles per hour, you want to make sure you have one of those hair ties or a hat. Otherwise, there's a potential that your hair will blind you momentarily and you could crash. So you want to keep your hair out of your face. The other tip I have is it's leave no trace. And this stems from the Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts, when they go on their outings, they're not supposed to leave a trace in nature. And you want to do the same thing. It's the same principle when you're inside your Jeep. You want to have leave no trace, no trash hanging around in your Jeep, because when you go topless, all that air circulates and pulls everything up and out of your Jeep. So you want to keep yourself from getting a fine, a litter fine. So make sure you check that out. Also, anything you want to stay in your Jeep, I suggest you tie it down, put it under the seats, cover it up, because there is potential for those greedy hands that could steal it, or it could, fly out of the Jeep. Also, if you like to drink coffee or water or, whatever your drink is in your Jeep, I suggest, this goes for any Jeep, I would say, I suggest you make sure you have a secure lid, because once you get on those bumpy roads, the drink could spill, and you just don't want to have all that liquid all over your Jeep. Also, the other thing is, if you have kids and you're going topless in your Wrangler, most of the time, it should be all of the time, your kids are in the back of the back seats. It gets kind of chilly back there because there are no heat vents in the back like some other vehicles have. So you want to have extra blankets for them. And I have the roll-up kind that you can just stash under the seats until the kids can pull them out when they get a little chilly. And the other thing is, you go topless, you pull your Jeep in the, underneath the garage or the carport, or, and you leave the top down. You want to make sure you spray the floor mats with some bug spray, because you don't want spiders building their spider webs in your Jeep, and it keeps them away for a little while anyways. And I haven't had that issue yet with spider webs, so cross my fingers. And the other thing, Nikki G, you'll probably want to take into consideration is sunscreen. When you're topless, sunscreen, because, the sun is just beating down right on your head, your face, your arms. Actually, I got pretty sunburned this past weekend when it was 80 degrees. So you want to keep sunscreen handy in your Jeep, because for those sunny topless days. Or what I think I'm going to try to look into is getting one of those sunshades that you put on the top of your Jeep. And of course, the color that I'm looking into is purple. So anyway, those are my going topless tips in my Jeep Wrangler. I don't know if anyone else has any others to share. And if you do, call in on Pipe Speak and give me your little topless tips. Tony, Josh?
Yeah, That's a great idea. The whole bug spray one is actually a fantastic idea. Guys, if you're like me and your Jeep is no longer a daily driver, and it might sit for 2-3 weeks or months even at a time without getting wheeled or driven, well, when the vehicle gets stored for a little while, some little creepy crawlies get in there very easily and like to make themselves at home in your dashboard, underneath your seats and stuff like that. The spraying that on the floor mats is a great idea with the bug spray. Just let the Jeep air out a little bit before you go driving again. Definitely don't want to hop in with the windows up and crank the heat. That might get a little funky real fast.
Yeah, there's nothing more exciting than driving your vehicle down the road and noticing a spider coming down a single thread to your leg.
I've had that like right just inches from my face, and it's just like, freak out and it's swerving across lanes, cause a massive pile up.
But officer, there was a spider. Yeah,
I swear, officer, I was not drinking. It was a spider.
It's
wonder how many times they've heard that.
It's like the whole bees thing from Tommy Boy. He's getting out of the ticket.
I've had that too. Yeah.
Well, great tips, and it dawns on me, Josh, that I think Tammy gives more thoughts to her Wrangler Talk segment than we do the whole show.
Oh man, yes. I said early on that she's making us look bad. So,
well, I think it's
just the opposite. Go after all,
making us look good. All I have to do is stop pointing out all the work that she's doing. So right. This is the part where we like to talk about reviews, but we ain't got no damn reviews.
Not in a while, anyways.
So if Jeep Mama tells you to give us, if Jeep Mama tells you to give us a review, will you listen to Jeep Mama? Because we need some reviews.
Shut up and listen. Give us a review.
There we go.
Do the finger, like the rappers do when you say, shut up and listen. To do that. No, let's say that. Tammy got it right. So anyway, we do have a past review from iTunes, and I like this one because he's not overselling it. He says, good show by Ben J455. He gives us a 4-star rating and says, I don't really use the forum this podcast is based on, but the topics they cover are, I'm going to say very useful. I was going to say mostly, but he actually said very useful. Well, damn it, you should go to the websites because, I often wonder when I see people saying I don't do forums that maybe it's because they don't like being flamed. I mean, I don't want to say any URL names or anything, but pirate4x4.com is really bad about abusing people, and there's even some Jeep forums that are the same way, and it's very sad when I see moderators doing this abuse of people that you would otherwise think that you'd want them to post. So that's not the way it is on xjtalk.com or wranglertalk.com. So if that's the reason why you don't do forums, think twice and come over to xjtalk.com or wranglertalk.com and post your question. In fact, throw us a dumb question and to see how people don't flame you.
Exactly. Great way to test the waters. For me, I think
the forums are just something that you just need to keep doing it over and over again to get used to it. I just think the look and the just getting used to how they work. I just think you got to give it more than 1 or 2 tries.
I've heard that from more than one person. I noticed, I'm an IT professional. I've been doing computers for a lot of years. And I even used to be on bulletin board systems from way back in the late 80s, early 90s. And the vBulletin software that most forums are based on the internet is confusing. When I first started using it, it was confusing. The bright side,
have a very hard time figuring it out.
The bright side is that once you learn it, it's the most the most used software on the internet. So once you learn one, you pretty much know them all. So it's good from that respect. So get over to iTunes and give us a review. Go over to Stitcher, give us a review. Hell, send us a review on Twitter or Facebook. It'll make its way to the show.
Exactly. We love getting those great reviews, guys, and even constructive criticism you want to share. By all means, we'll put it up there. Hey, and speaking of reviews, last week XJ Jake gave us an on-the-scene report of the new Jeep Renegade. Now we have another report about the Jeep Renegade from a different XJ Talk listener. And this was received from Matt M.S. Smorenberg, who has been featured on the show a few times. He's helped Tony out a lot with Tony's build of his Cherokee. And, he's got some insight as, a personal experience with the Jeep Renegade. Just an FYI, my cousin bought a new Jeep Renegade and the AC croaked the next day. There are no parts in it for it in the U.S. right now. And this is all from a rant on Facebook, by the way. Her rant, and this is Matt's cousin, Agent Orange update. I'm guessing that her Renegade is
it must be
nicknamed
Orange.
Agent
Yeah.
Orange. Yeah. Service department had rear end reaming by an all-star GM by all-star general manager at a meeting he called this morning. I fussed to someone I know about not being updated or called back, and that I was having to initiate all communication. Also, there is not a single spare part in the United States for my new ride, and it could be up to 4 months for a new part to come in. So All-Star will be raping another brand new Renegade on a lot of its AC line innocence and attempting to replace my part with its parts. Hashtag FrankenJeep. Will be updated tomorrow if that is a success. If not, some unhappy Smorenberg genes will be rearing their head at them. Hell hath no fury like a smoo without her Jeep for a week. It's all coming from central Louisiana. So, some issues in Louisiana with the new Renegades. Already barely on sale, just a few months, and already some issues popping up. Now, it's bound to happen every now and again with any new vehicle. Sometimes QC just isn't quite 100% spot on, and they miss a little bit of an issue, and something like this pops up. But to not have any spare parts ready, available in the U.S. for the vehicles that you're selling, to me personally, is just a bad move on Jeep's part. Well, this would be Fiat Chrysler, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't bode very well for the Renegade. I think the quality control, like you mentioned, and if it's
bad PR all around.
Oh, it is. If it's not quality control, that's kind of worse because it's bad components. So I don't know. I hope they get it fixed. I mean, it is April and it's getting ready to get really hot here in the South. It was like 86 here today. So I can just well imagine that Matt's cousin is not looking forward to being central Louisiana without AC. So good luck with them getting it repaired. And I guess that the next person buying a Renegade won't have AC in that model they're stripping.
Well, it sounds like the All-Star Dodge Chrysler Jeep dealership there in Denham Springs is doing everything that they can to take care of Smorenberg's cousin. So kudos to them for doing what it takes, because some places may just be like, well, you're going to have to wait 4 months because they're not willing to go the extra mile to take the part off of another vehicle and take care of a customer, basically at this point they are a customer and you want to take care of your customer.
Yeah, I mean that's a vehicle that they're paying for or they're on the nut for that they can't sell for 4 months.
Yeah, that's right. So they're basically taking one for the team to benefit the well-being of a customer, to do what's right. And I think that's exactly what's happening in this situation. They're doing what's right. So hopefully, that does get resolved. I imagine even springtime in Louisiana is pretty warm.
Yeah. Howdy. I see you guys have the campfire going. Can we get an AC unit out here? Because it's starting to get warm.
Yeah, right.
It's actually really chilly here, so it feels good.
Well, I don't understand since we're all in the same place.
So, Tony, what's happening with your Jeep? I don't have a lot going on right now with mine. I'm in the midst of collecting some parts and stuff like that, and just kind of in between some projects on the Jeep right now. So, you've got some stuff going on with your Jeep. I know that you've had some issues with some temperature stuff. What's the latest on that?
Forever and ever.
Seems like it, doesn't it?
No, it really is. It's been a long time since I've had the running hot on the highway issue, but it's a little different now in as much as if I'm on the highway, it runs hot, and I get off the highway, and it slowly over 3 miles returns to normal or near normal. So I would think that the cooling system is working well. It's just not working well enough to handle the 2,500 to 3,000 RPMs on the highway. So today I mentioned already that it was 86 degrees here in southeast Texas in the Houston area. And I managed to hit 250 degrees on my cooling system today. And
that seems a bit warm.
And I pulled over to that same place that I have pulled over in the past and broke out the trusty IR temperature sensor wand and did a scan of the thermostat. And I think I did see temperatures as high as 226 degrees on the thermostat housing. So one of our members in Australia, Carves, actually pointed out a little device that he uses to measure various temperatures on his Cherokee there in the outback. I don't know if it's the outback, but it's in Australia, so what the hell. And it's I think it was called the TM1. I think they make a TM1, 2, 3, and 4. The TM1 was the cheapest, so I ordered that one. It's a little over $100 US. And didn't have to wait very long for it to come in from all the way over in Australia. I got it off of eBay instead of going straight to the site, just because it makes it easier with PayPal and stuff. And
sure,
but I think it maybe took 3 days to get it all the way from Australia. Now, if you go to get one of these things, you need to make sure that you specify Fahrenheit, unless you want a Celsius unit, because that's what they use over there, that C thing. And
they use it everywhere but here.
Well, that's just too bad. They're just going to have to learn the hard way that it needs to be Fahrenheit, because that's God's measuring temperature. Anyway, so that unit came in. I have not hooked it up yet, but basically what it has is a temperature measuring device that's you put it under a bolt. So you take a bolt off of whatever you want to measure, and then you stick the bolt through the eyelet where this temp sensor is. And you screw it down, and then you run the wire. Actually, you have to run the wire into the area first. I mean, if it's a temporary measurement, you can just run it across the hood and through one of the gaps of the hood. It's not a big wire. And then the digital display, you can just sit on top of the column, or if you wanted to mount it permanently, I guess you could. But then you just take the 12-volt adapter and plug it into your cigarette lighter to run the thing. So you can literally use this unit on more than one Jeep, more than one vehicle. It doesn't have to be a Jeep, of course, and allows you to measure the temperatures. Now, I had considered just getting a mechanical gauge and going the route of taking one of the gauges that I have in the three-place A-pillar mount and putting a temp gauge in there. And then Carves mentioned this on xjtalk.com, and I thought, well, this is good, because if I have a problem with the TJ or the 99XJ or mine, I can just move this thing around and make these measurements with it. It's kind of a good test tool.
Let me ask a stupid question. You have been running.
Stupid question.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy. You have been running the Torque app for a while, and I remember you mentioning several times about running your smartphone and just having that live display of all that live data coming in from the OBD2 sensors and stuff like that. And you had mentioned that there was maybe a slight discrepancy between the numbers you were seeing on your screen and what the gauge in the dash was reading. So, I mean, was that an issue that's still going on? Am I remembering that incorrectly? Or, what's wrong with running something like the OBD2 Torque app and just seeing those numbers come from the software?
Well, the 250 I reported was from the Torque app.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because... and this is a good point. I mean, that gauge on the dash is not graduated properly. I was hitting 250, and I was on the first notch past 210.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, it's hard to diagnose a problem when you don't have accurate information. And if you're using the gauges on the dash, I'm afraid that that's not accurate information. You have to verify the information that you're getting, because you might think, well, that's a bit over 210. So what is that, like 230 or something that I'm hitting? And then you go and look at it from the computer, and the computer says, no, it's 250. Thank you. But and I actually did notice a little decrease in performance today, like I would normally notice whenever the Jeep would get hot. But I don't know if that was just because it had a lot of hot air coming in the intake because of how hot a day it was. Unfortunately, it's going to be getting hotter. It won't be unusual for us to see 96, 97, 98 degree temps here in the next couple of months. So, yeah, I need to figure out what's going on pretty damn quick.
Now, do you think it's just like how like sometimes you get like those check engine lights, but it's just a faulty, it's nothing wrong with the engine, it's just the faulty computer light going on? Or
actually there's no check engine light on this problem. It just gets hot as I go down the road, down the highway at anywhere between 60 and 70 miles an hour. I go 80, it gets hot faster. And
now, how do you know it's hot?
Well, the gauge is telling me that it's past 210, and then when I turn,
do you think the gauge is like because to me it's weird because when you're going on the highway it's hot, but when you're not on the highway it's not. Do you think it's like a faulty?
Well, that can be a
gauge thing.
That can be a sign of I changed out the sensor and I'm using the torque app, which is bypassing the gauge altogether. It's just giving me the information straight from the computer. So I don't.
The computer. Well, yeah, you're right. You're bypassing the gauge, but not the sensor itself.
Right. So this additional thing that I bought is going to be bypassing the computer, the sensor, and the gauge. It's going to be self-contained. So I'm going to be getting a reading without any of that, and I'll just have to. I guess there's some stuff I can do to this unit to verify it's reading correctly, like maybe boil some water and stick the probe in it and see if it reads 212 degrees. And if it's way off, then I'll know it's not calibrated properly. But anyway, there's no guarantee that it reads 212 and 250 the same. It could be off when it gets up to 250. It's just a test piece of equipment, and I'll have to see how well it works for me. Now, I will say that there's with the situation I'm seeing with it running hot on the highway, there's a potential that there's a blocked airflow turbulence that's being caused by the custom bumper and the winch and the lights, and not allowing the air to pass through in a manner that's good for cooling. That's the turbulence part of it. And there's also another thing that I'm really leaning towards, and I need to IR this piece of hardware more accurately than what I did today. It could be a clogged catalytic converter. About 70% of your heat from your engine goes out the exhaust. And this is more so than the radiator. I was really surprised to find this out while I was doing some research. The exhaust system actually gets more heat out of your engine than the radiator does to cool it. So if you have any problems with your exhaust system, you may have a overheating issue, and it's going to be more pronounced as you go faster, more RPMs because more heat.
Yeah.
And if you've got something that's blocking that heat from getting out, it's going to back right up into the engine. So, I found today you can actually measure the inlet and the outlet of the catalytic converter, and you should see a specific difference between those two, and then you can measure in the middle just to see how hot the catalytic converter is getting. Now, remember, I dropped a valve in my last 4.0 engine, and when I did that, the piston crumbled, and the rod went through the cylinder wall, which dumped all the coolant, or at least a lot of it, into the combustion chamber and forced it through the exhaust system. Remember that big cloud? It was like the old-timey mosquito sprayers. It was so big.
Yeah, and if you guys have ever seen coolant that has been evaporated, it leaves a bit of a sticky residue behind, and that on the material inside of a catalytic converter, which is it's an active ingredient, meaning that as the carbons and stuff flow across it, there's a chemical reaction that actually takes place inside the catalytic converter. And if all that material, that honeycomb material, if all that surface area is now gummed up with things like, coolant that's been evaporated or, basically boiled off, and of course the rest of the residue that is traveling down the exhaust system, well, that's going to gum things up pretty quick. So, Tony, that's a really good point you made there, and a great observation as to, where to begin to start troubleshooting this kind of stuff. Now, your purchase of the temp meter is definitely going to help you through that process. But I think you might be onto something with the plug catalytic converter.
Yeah, Matt actually warned me about that. Said that we'd have to see if that caused an issue with the catalytic converter. So it's not enough to actually where it seems like it slows me down because the Jeep seems to run just fine. But this might be the reason for the temperature, and it might be the reason why that when I slow down, the airflow or the exhaust flow goes back to normal. At least enough to get through the exhaust system properly, and the engine starts cooling down. And also, too, it would mean that the heat is kind of backing up. So that might mean that the cooling system is getting hot from the back end instead of internally, if that makes sense. And then heating backwards through the engine. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what it possibly could be. So went a little long on this. Apologize, but Tammy, you have some interesting thing to tell us, an interesting part to tell us about.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember a couple shows back, I was telling you about a steering attenuator for the Jeep Wranglers from a company, Performance Stability. And anyway, they wanted to send me the steering attenuator for me to review to put on my Jeep. And it was the Sahara at the time. And I just didn't feel comfortable. I hadn't been in my Jeep long enough to know the steering issues. So anyway, I gave the steering attenuator to a friend who put it on his Jeep, and he raved about it. So I was like, oh man, I wish I would have put it on my Jeep. So I got one here. They shipped it out to me.
Hold that up a little higher. I can barely see it. There we go.
Right here, you see it? Anyway, I'm not going to install it myself, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, darn. But one of the reasons is because I want to keep my warranty intact, and I'm going to go up to the dealer who I bought my Jeep from. They have an extreme shop, and they're going to install it, which will keep my warranty intact. And it's also one of the main reasons they designed this for the Wrangler is because so many women and so many moms are buying the Jeep and so many younger kids are driving the Jeep. And you really, when you drive a Wrangler, you really have to be pretty on the ball. You can't just sit there and, drive your vehicle like that. You really have to be on the ball because there's so many little bumps and stuff that you have to be careful of. And anyway, so they designed this to help ease the driving. So I'm going to go up Tuesday. They're going to install it. They're going to take some pictures of me because, they're not going to, obviously they don't let you back in the garage. And I'm going to review it myself to see if there is a difference in the steering. So, which will be interesting because this dealer is about 70 miles away. And I always, when I drive up there, I'm driving through Baltimore, through the tunnels, through all this truck traffic. And I'm on I-95, which is one of the main interstates up and down the East Coast. And it's very tense for me whenever I drive my Jeep on the interstate. So I'm going to see if I feel like there's a difference in my steering when I put this on. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if all the hype is what they say it is.
I'm sorry to hear you're having a situation like that with your JK. When I drive my wife's TJ, boy, that thing is stable as a rock. And that's a 4-inch lift and 33-inch tires.
It's, it's fine, but it's not like driving, I used to have a Chevy Cavalier, it's totally different. Yeah. My husband was too, poor him. We got a minivan and he had to drive it and it was teal blue. So he called it the Toolmobile. But anyway, it's a different, driving a Jeep is totally different than driving a minivan. It's not the same. And, as
Jeeps wander, it's been no secret for ever since Jeeps have been around that they tend to float around a little bit on the freeway, and on this it's called the Jeep Wander. And anybody who's owned or driven a few Jeeps in their lifetime will be familiar with this if they've ever had one out on the freeway. And hopefully, Tammy, that little steering attenuator fixes that. I'm very much looking forward to your personal review of that. So hopefully we get to hear about that here in the next week or two.
Yeah, we do know from the lucky individual that you gave the other one to that it did make a difference. So, but it'll be different hearing from you and the firsthand report.
And don't get me wrong, I love my Jeep, and I'll put up with the little little jerks and fishtails, and nothing will change that.
I wonder how this is going to affect your drifting.
You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
Yes, you are. Well, Josh?
We've got some fun to have right now.
Let's see if I can find the right thing here.
Amazon.com and the XJ Talk Show present You Bought What?
Well, if you guys don't know what this part of the show is, we do this every other week. It's called Amazon You Bought What? And what this is all about is our little relationship that we have with Amazon.com. What is Amazon.com, you may ask? Well, it is only the web's #1 source for basically anything revolving around online shopping. You need a little thingamajigget or a whoozamajog? Well, you can find it over at Amazon.com. Everything from, bacon salt to Jeep parts, pretty much, and everything in between, even. Amazon has agreed to give us a list of what you guys are buying, but we don't get to see who buys what. All we see is basically what is on the list. Now, how does this work? You guys have to go to one of our websites, xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com. And, well, you just click on that Amazon banner right there. It takes you straight over to Amazon.com where you can purchase any old thingamajig that you're looking for, but we get a little piece of the pie. You're not going to spend a single penny more, not a red cent more, but it's a great way to help support us and your favorite off-road podcast.
Is red cents what they use in the old communist Russia? I just I've never heard of red cent. That's an interesting thing. So
bad penny.
So I gotta say this is kind of an exciting thing here because I think everybody wants a chess freezer from time to time. So this is a Midea, I guess, WAS 1851C single door chest freezer, 5 cubic feet white. Not that that's important. $223.56. It has mechanical control with adjustable thermostat, recessed handle, removable storage basket, perfect for making room for game meat or a lifetime supply of Haagen-Dazs. Easy to clean the interior in case that dead hooker body leaked a little over the long winter. Storage, we'll see it's just not freezing properly. Balanced hinge design for unbalanced individuals. I thought Midea was a black guy in drag who made bad movies. Yes, I see where you're going there, Josh. So thank you very much to whoever you are that purchased that on Amazon.com by going over and clicking on our Amazon banner, xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com. And a nice salute. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And
that's an appliance.
We have Saber Red Pepper Spray, and it's police strength.
Don't act like you don't know what this is.
So, in police strength, only in Canada can police carry this. And I have it right here. Look at, ironically, it's right here. And it's for when you're running. It has a little hand strap, and it has maximum protection in 35 shots. It's up to 5 times more than just your regular pepper spray. And it's only $9.99, and it comes with this little carrying case. I've got to be really careful here so I don't spray myself. Anyway, it's immediately accessible. It's an adjustable hand strap. It's practical protection while you're going running or you're walking out of the mall late at night by yourself. And it's the #1 brand used by police worldwide, even in Canada. I think they have an extra case in Canada right now, by the way. In New York, Chicago, LA County Sheriff's Office, the U.S. Marshals. It's made in the USA. And like I said, it has up to 5 times more spray than just your regular spray. So you have 35 bursts. So, you have 35 chances to get rid of those bad guys. Protection against multiple threats and the ability to give short burst test sprays. And if you ever do buy this, you should really squirt it, you test it out the first time, just like out in the backyard against a tree or something. Just make sure your kids aren't around. It produces a powerful ballistic stream and it reduces blowback. And I did test this out, and it is a very long stream of spray. It's got a 4-year shelf life, and it's perfect for long-term food storage, and it tastes really great on eggs.
So we agreed on the pre-show that Tammy was actually going to use one of those 35 shots to show us how it works, and
just little spritz in the mouth.
I'm chicken.
What's you women do? You put it a little bit on your neck. You just could do a little dab here and there.
A little dab here, dab there. Yeah.
I was
a little something on a Ritz cracker, a little spritz on a Triscuit or something.
I was just thinking, you should have that with you at all times, of course, when you're out, but especially when you're walking through the mall and those girls are standing there waiting to spray you with perfume.
Oh, really? Here,
counter spray.
Oh, I'll try yours
That's
if you try
a lovely
mine.
Scent. Smell mine. Yeah.
Oh my God, Mama.
Clears the entire lower floor.
But anyway.
I've got one here. This is from one of my favorite categories, the automotive department. This is a super loud Stebble Nautilus compact twin air horn system Universal fit for cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, and scooters. This thing was only $46.95 and came with free shipping. This is a genuine Stubble compact Nautilus air horn as opposed to a fake no-name Chinese-made air horn. Compatible with every 12-volt electrical system, including cars, trucks, motorcycles, ATVs, go-karts, golf carts, boats, tractors, snowmobiles, and that device you have in your nightstand drawer that you don't want anyone to know about. May require creative mounting solutions and bracketing. Wire kits are sold separately. In other words, you better know what you're doing. Loud enough to wake distracted drivers with 139 decibels of attention-getting, dual-tone sound. Special harmonic tone ensures full and complete bowel emptying of said distracted drivers.
It's the brown sound. Yeah, Tammy, I was just thinking, if you're driving down in your open Jeep, topless, and somebody cuts you off with that powerful stream, you could actually probably spray laterally, not in front of you. Don't spray in front, but to the side, and then just speed away. And actually, it'll help you get away with that steering stabilizer on there because it'll be easier to steer.
And maybe for those non-waivers.
Oh, yes, absolutely. All right, well, there you go.
We just found out what you bought.
Oh my God, I just can't believe that made it on the list.
Now we get to find out about Wheeling Where.
That's right, guys. What is happening around the nation, in your town, and around the woods? Well, this is where we talk about a few events coming up in the relative areas of the nation or worldwide. The 10th annual Jeep Beach is happening. Jeep Beach is an annual event of Jeep enthusiasts celebrating a passion for off-road vehicles and is 5 days of family-friendly fun for Jeep owners. Some of the activities will include obstacle courses for all levels of drivers, meet face-to-face with leading industry vendors, drive in a parade. There's a huge raffle, show and shine, and a lot more. All happening April 22nd through the 26th. That's basically going on right now for our live viewers. And it's all happening Daytona Beach, Florida. And for more information, just go to jeepbeach.com. Also, Jeep Jamboree presents the 23rd annual Big Bear Jeep Jamboree, May 7th through the 9th in Big Lake, California. For more information, go to jeepjamboreeusa.com.
Well, you guys may have noticed that we didn't do our review this week, but we ran a little long, so we're going to save it for next week. Tammy will be happy because it means she doesn't have to write anything for next week.
Oh, yeah. No homework for Tammy this week.
So, guys, we really appreciate you being here for the show, whether it's live or watching the recorded show on YouTube, and especially the people that we do this podcast for, which is the ones that listen to the audio-only podcast to and from work, at the gym, while mowing the grass. There's many different ways that you can listen to this. Hell, it may even work better than thinking about baseball during those special times with your spouse. So we encourage you to listen to it whenever it's a pleasure for you to do so. You can find us over on the Twitter. You can find us on the Facebook. You can even find us on the Google+. So you kids and your social media. But it's like xjtalkshow.com, xjtalk. There's a theme here. It's like 2 letters and the word talk, XJ Talk. Just do a search for XJ Talk or XJ Talk Show, and you'll find us all over the internet.
Yeah, pretty much, guys. We are all over the interwebs, and make sure you guys are heading over to iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment if you would, please. And, of course, make sure you guys are telling a friend about not only the show, but the websites as well as our YouTube channel. So make sure you are spreading the word. And share us on your Facebook account, guys. Talk about the XJ Talk Show in one of your next posts. We'd really appreciate it.
Come on, Tammy. You can do it.
Oh, sorry. I'm zoning here. And don't forget to go to www.jeepmama.com, MOMMA. And I also have links to the XJ Talk Show there, too. Check out what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis with my Jeep and just my life.
Yeah, she has a lot of interesting things, a lot of pictures. I don't know about you, Josh, but I like pictures. It's a lot better than those pesky words. You got to think about words.
And you guys have an interesting story to tell about your Jeep. I just know it. We want to hear about it. So if you'd like to get on the show for an interview, you want to talk about your Jeep, and heck, who doesn't want to talk about their Jeep? Well, send us an email to newstips@xjtalkshow.com. Or even give us a call on our 24/7 voicemail line, 530-675-4102. We hope to hear from you soon.
You guys have a great Jeep week, and catch us next Thursday, 10 p.m. Central Time, live right here on YouTube Live, also xjtalkshow.com.
Good night, everyone.
See you next time.
So let's see. We had the Super Croc, Josh, Tammy, of course, Jeep Mama, and who else do we have in there?
Jeep Boss.
Yep, Jeep Boss.
Steve was in there.
Oh, and there was a guest 6934. If that was from this time, I may have scrolled down too far.
No, there was. I said hello to that guest.
I missed that.
Oh, 40s. Yeah, if I was in the 40s, I wouldn't have to be worried about getting home tomorrow. Yeah, seeing that 250 on the Torque app was a lot of fun.
Oh, Dan was there. I missed him. Death Tongue.
Yeah, he was on the one of the voicemails. Actually, we didn't hear from him tonight. He was doing one of the Shut Up and Listen to Jeep Mamas.
Yep.
Okay. So, for those that don't realize, the show's over, and this is the post show. Have you? Now, Josh, you really don't do the social media thing, but Tammy, did you ever see that post on Facebook where it was a picture of a post, a fence post, and they say share this post for no reason?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one yet.
I like the really dumb ones like that. That's funny. But anyway. So, I guess that's about it. Anything that we need to do here is just wrapping up with doing our promo that we stick on the front of the show. Thank you guys again for joining us here on the live show. Also, you guys that have made it all the way through the YouTube video to the end part here. And
and Super Croc, please let us know what you find out with your Jeep, what the problem is.
Yeah, if he hasn't changed the CPS, I bet you that's what it's going to be, depending on how old that one is. Anyway, you guys have a great night, and we will see you next week, hopefully.
Thanks, guys.
Please join us.